Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show and another Premier League preview video. Before the whistle blows, Monica's sort of gone now. It's just Prem preview. So we'll stick with that. We've got the regulars in the house. Matt's becoming part of the furniture now when we can pull him away from his workstation. How are you doing, Matt? Thanks for being here.
Oh, well, good. Definitely prefer being here than at work. So thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure. Just for those that don't know, yeah, we had to do Friday this week. It's been wall-to-wall football, so we switched things around and thought we would come to you on Friday because we wanted to get it in 9 o'clock. Won't be here too long, because I know we're all pretty tired. Oscar looks like he's just come off the golf course. We've got a late arrival here in Don Hussam. He's back with us. We've got a bone to pick with Don Hussam as well, but we'll save that for a little bit later on. Corey, how are you, my man?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Knackered, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I know it's a tough game, but yeah, early kickoff, start the weekend right. Fingers crossed we need some joy. I've got to be honest. Yeah. something to pick us up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, good. It'll be a great game, that as well. Hopefully you'll do them. Oscar, how are you, mate? I haven't seen you. I don't feel like I've seen you. You weren't here last week. You were mixing it with the ex-pros at Leeds United.
It certainly was, mate. It certainly was. And not to brag, but I will be doing it again on Sunday, which I'm delighted to say. No, it's been unreal, mate. It's been unreal. Delighted to get like the call and that lot and just say that I was doing it again and absolutely buzzing with it. And yeah, mate. So I think when did we last speak? Was it probably like a week ago?
Yeah, it will have been. Too long, mate. Probably. Too long. For those that don't know, any Leeds fans, Oscar's been doing the Legends Lounges. You pay. I paid for one before, and I think it would be. I forget which suite it was. It was my 30th. My missus paid for it. We played Sheffield United on a Friday night and got beat 2-0. And we were shocked.
I remember that game.
Yeah,
I remember that game as well.
But you go for a little meal and that pre-match, and Legends come in at half time and say a few words and whatnot. And Oscar's been doing a bit of that, bit of comparing. So fair play, Oscar. Going places, mate. I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. And returning. Everyone has missed him. To be fair, one of the controversial goats out there, Mr. Don Hussam. How are you, mate? All right.
Yeah, I'm good, man. Obviously, after that West Ham loss, we've been on a good run. The only thing I'm not good about is just how, listen, I'm not made for this cold weather. It's freezing. It's freezing right now. I'm just so cold and stuff. I'm fully wrapped up and global warming is real, guys. It's freezing in the Middle East. So, it's just, I'm just not
Jordan,
made for this weather.
You're in Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Is it cold there now, this time of year?
Yes, it's actually freezing. You have no idea. I'm fully freezing right now.
It's mad. I think there is something in this global warming stuff. I can't remember. No. I honestly cannot remember like that Storm Arwen, anything close to that when I was a kid. Like I woke up on the morning, the trampoline was on the opposite end of the garden and all my garden furniture was everywhere. And I was like, what's going on? I can't remember this when I was a kid. So it does certainly seem to be getting worse. But that's a story for another day.
It feels like that would be a story that if Hal was here, he'd really build on that.
Yeah.
He'd make some kind of smart comment.
It snowed here last year. It snowed here last year. Wow. Like snow.
Mad.
Snow. Yep.
Spare a thought for Hal as well, man. Paul Heckingbottom in charge. Wow.
He seems happy to me. I'm just scrolling through the other day. Hal's like kind of, what's his name? Some of his tweets. And I'm thinking, either Hal's just like literally just saying everything's fine, everything's absolutely fine, or he actually genuinely likes Paul Heckingbottom. I'm not sure which of the two it is, but yeah.
He's had to put on a brave face for a long time. So
I think he has. I think he's putting on a very brave face.
He has. It's quite funny, actually. There was someone who I met through doing this. I've never met him in person, but someone that I connected with, a Sheffield United fan. And his name's Lee. He might watch this. And we used to rib each other in that promotion season that Sheffield United went up. And then he's just gone quiet. Like, I never hear from him anymore. And every so often, I'm like, still there, Lee? All right, bro.
That's like the Irish Hotspur, innit? After we beat
him. Yeah.
Never hear from him ever again.
Or Locks.
But Locks is on holiday every other week. So he needs a break.
Before we get into it, I want to ask Don Hassam a question anyway, before we get into this weekend's games. Don, I've been seeing a lot of hate towards Leeds United on your Twitter feed recently. Now, I don't know if you're just clout chasing or what, but what's the story? Why have you suddenly got a dislike for Leeds United?
Listen, I never clout chase. I just say my honest opinion. When it comes to Leeds, listen, I said Liverpool, we just shop in discounts. We never do make big money signings. So, it'll be beneficial for us, for Newcastle and Leeds to get relegated. So we can get Saint-Maximin and Rafinha, obviously. So that's the only way. I just want a
It's
discount.
like Liverpool could afford both of those players. What is it, Sam? Is it April Fool's Day?
Yes,
You
we
won't even
can. No,
extend Salah's contracts.
We bought Van Dijk for 75 million. We can pay
Yeah,
when
but
we
you
want.
sold Coutinho for 140 to fund that. You can't
Listen,
fool me.
there's a clause in his contract, I think, about this relegation thing, and his agent is also Fabinho's agent. So good
Who
stuff.
are we talking
for us.
about here? Rafinha?
Yeah. I'm not
Gecko.
interested in anyone else from Leeds. you know what's the funny part, Joe? Just the Leeds thing. I was talking to an Arsenal fan, and he was like, "Yeah, I want Leeds relegated as well." And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "I want Calvin Phillips." I'm like, "Oh, you know ball."
I seen, to be fair, I watched something the other day you'd done, and I seen, was it a Manchester United fan saying he wanted Dan James back? Is that right?
Oh, Lord, have mercy on my soul. My guy fully said he would take Dan James back at Man United. I'm just like, I just don't know what he's saying. And you know what's the worst part? He said Dan James under Klopp could be Mo Salah.
Did he say what he said?
God, some people,
Listen,
It's
it's
bad,
still
it's
early
bad.
days, but he's a long way away from that, I'd have to say. Yeah, 25 million seems a hell of a lot of money now, but he's getting better. He is getting better, I can't lie. Cool. So you don't think we're really shit, or what?
Nah, I do think you're shit this season.
Oh, really? Come on, tell me why.
No, but that's not hating. That's just stating facts.
No, it's
That's
not stating facts.
You haven't been that good this season. You haven't been that
Yeah.
good this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's worse teams than us.
Oh, of course. Newcastle, Norwich. These two are like, I think they're 90% down. So just the third spot that's up for grabs. And, we'll see what happens.
I just want to ask the panel actually on Newcastle, because I've been mulling over this. Like, it's all love as well. Like, I will just say that for anyone in the chat, it's all love between the panel and that. It's only jokes. It's all jest. It's all love. Okay, so no hate, please. What about Newcastle? Because I've seen. I think at this stage, no team who has not, won a game. They're still, I think, the only club in the whole of the 92 in the Football League to have won a game, has never survived. So regardless of how much money they've got, do we think it's too big of a gap? I'm going to come to Matt first of all. Do we think, I mean, no one's ever done it, not won a game by this stage of the season. Remember, we have like 15 games in this weekend. They're still without a win. Like, do you think they will be able to get enough players in January to make them survive, bro?
No, they're gone. They're 100% gone. And I kind of said it, Joe, when the takeover first happened. They're dreaming of top four in Champions League football. That's a million miles away. I didn't think things would go as bad as it has done with Eddie Howe coming in replacing Steve Bruce. I think, look, just to mention, I think Steve Bruce is a little bit of redemption for him, showing that it's the players that are just atrocious and not good enough for this level. But yeah, that squad it's for me 10 players away from being a Premier League squad, to be perfectly honest. I think Axman is the only player in there who has kind of proven himself at that level and is doing anything for them this season to add any bit of quality to that team. And it's great having their money. They'll be spending a couple $100 million in the Championship next season. It'll be fun to see. They'll probably get over 100 points. They'll probably come straight back up. But in terms of this season, the writing's on the wall for them. And looking on paper, the easiest game for the season for them is at home to Norwich. Easiest game of the season for anyone is at home to Norwich. And they were very lucky, I think, to come out of that with a point. So, yeah, Newcastle in the Championship next season. Eddie Howe would probably stay there and he'd probably get them back up. But, yeah, they're dead and out.
Yeah. Corey, I seen something earlier as well. I think it was Football for All. I know it's not always 100% correct, but they always do share the article on the back of it. And it said Newcastle were looking at Barkley, Lingard. There was another one as well.
Dele Alli?
No, it was a defender, mate, at a Premier League club.
Tarkovsky.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I'll have a
probably is.
look while we're
The Burnley
talking, but-
defender. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you think, Corey, that them sort of signings? Because I think for me, right, had Newcastle been away from the drop zone, then the players they'll be able to attract are pretty decent. But because of the current state they find themselves in, and the fact that they probably may even still struggle for wins up until January, our players going to want to make that move, thinking, well, we'll have to spend a year in the Championship.
That's a good point. Probably not, but then money does talk. So I think if you were a James Tarkowski and you're out of contract at the end of the season, and I think Matt spoke about even if they went down, they would come straight back up. There's a possibility that long term you'd be quite a key part of that squad. So I think that kind of plays a role in it. In terms of Newcastle staying in the division, I still think, and they are very, very poor, that if they can get the right signings in, they may be able to do something. Not because they're a quality side, but because I still feel that it's quite tight. And with the right type of personnel, you could get a run of results. But yeah, they'd still be favourites, in my opinion, to go down. Granted, they haven't won a game, but it's so odd to watch them, actually, to be honest, because I think Eddie Howe's trying to make them more progressive, and he doesn't have the personnel. And Kieran Clark in that game was so sloppy. To go down to 10 men in that game, it is criminal. So again, you're talking centre backs, you're talking midfielders, probably another strike. There's a lot of business to be done. But listen, when you start waving the checkbook around, who knows? That's why I don't write them off just yet. Some other clubs, I think, I'm not sure. Can you bring anyone in to change it? But Newcastle's a bit of a tricky one.
Just while we're on signings as well, mate, I've seen you were linked with Nathan Aki.
Oh my God. That's astute, my friends. That's what you call an astute signing if you can pull one off. Left-sided centre-back, mobile, good in the air, threat from set pieces. Everyone says he's got a mistake in him. We play a high line at Man City. If you sit him next to Kurt Zuma, that's a different ballgame. And I think that would be good business. I think him, Lingard, and a striker, definitely. And we'll talk about West Ham later, but there's a definite need for an injection of fitness and new faces.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen some shade getting thrown Mickey Antonio's way on your Twitter feed, actually, bro. I was like...
I threw it out there, mate. Well, I wasn't... hang on. Do you know what made me laugh? I walked out the ground and I thought, I'll put that. That was like throwing a hand grenade. I went for a beer, looked back and looked at my phone and was like, okay. But a lot of West Ham fans will agree. And I've been so patient with him. I really, really have. But that performance is a concern. You don't realise how much West Ham's attack is built on Mikel Antonio, and it's affecting the other attacking midfielders. So there's a larger problem, and we've got so many fixtures coming up that we have to win. And I hated seeing Neil Maupay score against us at home in the last minute.
What a goal, by the way.
Look at the defending, mate. Like, it's a beautiful goal. It's a world-class goal, but the defending is... I'll save it. Look, I could go.
It's funny actually because he couldn't finish his dinner against us, and then he pulls that out against your lot, man.
It's always going to happen, mate. Look, this season we've had Brentford last minute win a set piece, Jesse Lingard last minute, Neil Maupay. It's just I've seen it so many times. The
guy missed 3 open goals. I mean, admittedly, one of them was for wouldn't have counted anyway because a foul was blown, but it was still an open goal and he skied it. The guy's... It's madness. Oscar, do you give Newcastle any hope, or are we as Leeds United fans not out of the woods yet, thinking nice Norwich, Newcastle already gone?
I don't think anyone's already gone yet. You know, I think obviously Norwich a couple of weeks ago we'd have all said they're gone, but they've kind of put together 4 unbeaten, 2 wins, 2 draws. Look, ultimately keeping it up throughout the season. I still think Norwich will go down, but I think they've given themselves a chance, and it can change very quickly. I think the thing Newcastle have got is obviously the transfer window and probably a big budget they can spend. But it's like Corey and Matt have kind of touched on. It's like, where do you begin? Do you go to the defence? Do you bring in the Tarkowski? Or do you go to the attack? Do you bring in that real elite forward and just rely on them? Do you I don't know, someone's play alongside Wilson, or someone's play instead of Joel Linton, or players like that. Who's that? Sorry, mate.
Mitrovic back.
Mitrovic.
He's getting crazy numbers this season. I will say.
Yeah, Championship though.
I know he is. You're right, mate. He is.
He does it all the time in the Championship. Dwight Gale's the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of them, isn't it? It's but I do think at Tarkowski they desperately need a leader at the back, someone who's got that little bit of quality about them, because none of the centre halves are good enough for me. I don't think any of them are good enough. The fullbacks aren't great. Dubravka's got a mistake in him. It's not great, the back end of the pitch for Newcastle, really. They can score goals, I suppose, but I was surprised they got the draw against Norwich, considering they played 80 minutes with 10 men. I suppose if you are Eddie Howe, you look at that as a positive. But yeah, you look at certain games they've played. Arsenal away last week, outplayed really for 90 minutes. So it's difficult. You go from playing the way Steve Bruce did to Eddie Howe. It's quite an extreme change that in the middle of a season. It's always going to be difficult. But yeah, I think Newcastle have got a challenge. It just purely depends on who they can attract in January. I don't think they're going to be able to. If Newcastle were serious in that lot, and this is a serious project, they'd be going for people like Maddison and that lot, in terms of Leicester and saying, we can boost your wages. They're not going to go for like someone like Smith Rowe from Arsenal. Not going to be able to make that kind of signing, but maybe a Maddison, someone like that. They could even do that, but I still can't see it. I just think as much as money talks, does it talk that much for a player to move to the Championship for a year? Not for me. So I think they've got a massive battle now, Newcastle. I think they've got a massive battle, and maybe in hindsight, Eddie Howe wasn't the right appointment. That might be a bit early to say that, but maybe look at it now and think, maybe there was other options out there. Could they have gone to Sean Dyche and said, look, and I think Sean Dyche would have probably left Burnley to take that job. Someone who just does it. What's that? Sorry, mate.
Like Newcastle, all this money, then bringing in Sean Dyche.
I don't mean long term. I just mean for like a year or so.
I know, but then is Sean Dyche going to want to take it? I don't know.
He would.
They're supposed to be going in the other direction. Do you know what I mean? It'd feel a little bit of a mad one for me.
Sometimes these clubs they go a little bit. They need to go safe in order to build, and Newcastle is such a massive project, and Dyche is a safe pair of hands. As much as people talk about his style of play, and then this is a real anomaly, but when Maxwell Cornet's come in and the way that he's played and how he can work to his strengths, there is something there. There is something there if you could get players around him, if you give him Saint-Maximin, Wilson. It's all hypotheticals. I think Eddie Howe has got that job long term, and if he goes down, they'll back him. What Amanda Staveley says about him, they rave about him, and I just think he'll be there for 2-3 years.
I don't think Eddie Howe's a bad manager. I don't think that by any stretch of the imagination, and he does play better football than Sean Dyche, but I don't know.
But mate, look at the defenders.
That's it, though. He can't defend.
It was the same at Bournemouth, though. And
is he the right man to turn around the sinking ship? I think at Bournemouth, you've got to remember, it was a bit nice kind of thing. They were in League One, a mid-table League One team. There wasn't much pressure on. It's not as much pressure on the job. He went to Burnley, Eddie Howe, let's not forget, and it didn't work out there. So it's an interesting one, Eddie Howe. He'll do better than Steve Bruce ultimately, I think. Whether he has to take him back up again, I don't know. But I just find Newcastle, I just don't see that project really taking off, to be honest. I think it's going to go the same way as Everton, to be quite honest with you.
So I'm going to come to Don on this. I just want to shout out my friend Fiznik as well. My Albanian friend, big shout out Fiznik. Right, okay. Don, just while we do that, so I'm seeing on Twitter as well, a couple of hours ago, Bill Kenwright at Everton's holding an emergency meeting with Rafa Benitez's future high on the agenda at Everton. We've spoken about this on this panel for a couple of weeks, saying could it be a bit of an issue? Look, it's coming from the Daily Mirror, but there's no smoke without fire. It's funny that because we were talking about Newcastle, I think there's still a chance that he rocks up at Newcastle when he becomes available. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's say they get to January and Eddie Howe's still without a win. Rafa Benitez has been sacked by Everton. You never know, do you, Don? I mean, talk to us about Everton and obviously what happened, just the other night and how you see the Newcastle Benitez situation.
Listen, with Newcastle, they play Burnley, Leicester, and then after that, they play Liverpool, United, and City. So that scenario is actually extremely realistic because I think Burnley and Leicester are the only two winnable games. Besides, I think United, Liverpool, and City, you can just mark that as a loss for Newcastle. So when you look at those other two fixtures, they get nothing out of it. And as you said, it's January 1st, and Eddie Howe still hasn't a victory. Then Benitez could easily become Newcastle manager, and he deserves to take this project forward anyway. After what he's done with Newcastle, everything is done.
I agree.
When it comes to Everton, if all five of us were to set up a club right now, we were about to start a football club together, we will look at Everton and think that this is exactly what we don't need to do. Everything Everton do the opposite of, because the decisions they make, if I'm not mistaken, they paid 30 million for Iwobi. They still employed Cenk Tosun. When you look at it, let's just deep this for a second. They've had Benitez and Ancelotti over the last 3 years. Benitez and Ancelotti are top 10 managers of the last 20 years. Like we're not talking about any Tom, Dick, and Harry. We're saying Benitez, who's upper echelon of managers. We're saying Ancelotti, who's definitely upper echelon of managers. And they still couldn't solve Everton. The problem with Everton is the structural one. The way they spend money is utter stupidity. That's the biggest problem they have at Everton. They are going to Premier League clubs like an Arsenal, like a City, like a United, like a whatever, and buying their rejects, buying the players that can't make it on the bench. Like even earlier on this summer when Maitland-Niles posted on Instagram, he was linked to Everton. So even they don't even learn from their own mistakes. They're going in for Maitland-Niles. They're not going into Everton and going like, here's 60 million, give us Saka, so we can actually build something. They're actually making like horrendous mistakes in the transfer window, and no manager can fix that. They need to fix upstairs first. So the scenario you mentioned is definitely realistic. When it comes to the game, listen, Merry Christmas, Everton. This is just what we do every single season, I'm afraid. Like last season, there was no fans, so it doesn't count in my eyes. So, when it comes to, last season is just, I forgot it completely. So when it comes to Everton, it's just the same thing every summer as well. You speak to an Everton fan. We have a good manager. We can trouble the top 4. We can get into the top 6. We can do this. We won the transfer market. We can do that. Blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing for the last 20 years. And they end up finishing 9th, 10th. And it's just the same cycle over and over. So until they fix upstairs, it can't be fixed. And the scenario you mentioned is way more realistic than you think, given the run of games Newcastle have as well.
Yeah, for sure. And apparently they're going to walk out on the 27th minute in the Everton-Arsenal game to highlight 27 years since they won a trophy, Everton. So it's pretty bad there at the minute. So, it looks like it might get...
What I'll say is, though, is... If Everton fans, I don't know if the Everton fans are angry at the board or Benitez, but
the board, it is the board.
I'll say if Benitez.
Benitez, though.
I feel for him a bit.
They're angry at Benitez. They're angry at the manager more than the board. That's the issue. Benitez did not buy Iwobi for 30 million. Benitez did not buy Cenk Tosun.
But these are the thing is, Hassan, they've had Calvert-Lewin. How long's he been out for now? 2-3 months. The backup is Solomon Rondon. That was all he was able to bring in. That's the backup. They've had to use him for 3 months. Richarlison's only just come back. He's had injuries all over the place. So I feel a bit for Benitez. I do think they'll improve once they get the best players back in. But you've got to sort out the structure of that club first before they can even think about moving forward as a club overall.
Yeah. I know you have your ear pretty close to the ground. A lot of Everton supporting mates. So I will take your word on this one, Oscar. Let's jump into the weekend's games then. And, of course, the 12:30 kickoff gives us West Ham versus Chelsea. Chelsea dropping points against Manchester United last week. They beat Watford, I believe. Am I right in saying? Yeah, they beat Watford. Matt, how do you see this one going? West Ham, Chelsea, 2 favourite clubs of yours, no doubt.
I won't be watching, I can tell you that much. It's an interesting one because West Ham coming off the back of, was it 2 defeats and a draw? Is that am I right?
Don't rub it in.
Did I do that? I think this is exactly the type of game they'll get riled up for. London derbies are West Ham's bread and butter, it seems at times, especially when maybe other things may not be going that great. Look, obviously the season overall is going really, really well for them. But it's just that game that West Ham will always get pumped up for. Like, Tottenham fans always make the joke of the Tottenham West Ham games and is their FA Cup final. I mean, I think that's utterly ridiculous. I wish Tottenham approached every London derby in the way that West Ham approached the game with us. We're still a bigger club, but I think it's going to be really tough for Chelsea. And they got their 3 points against Watford on Tuesday, but Thomas Tuchel even said it after the game. That's the first performance they've had this season where he's not been happy with things. They underperformed. Of course, Watford came out of the blocks really quick early on in that game and could have been 1 or 2 up before the unfortunate events in the stands as well. So it's a game where I think we're going to see a reaction from both teams. It's just which team can react that bit better. And look, if it does come down to quality, of course, it is Chelsea that will come out with a victory in that one. But I don't think Chelsea will be as confident going into this as they would have been before the last couple of games that they've played.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Just had a super duper chat come in from Carlos All Leeds our way. Thank you so much for that super chat, mate. He said, main word you said there is structure. You need that in any line of business. From a Leeds United perspective, I love it. Arsenal and Spurs will, in my opinion, definitely go the same route. Hope you're well, guys. Yeah, structure is so important. I think Leeds United, I agree with you, Carlos, the fact that the way Radrazani's built it, we have that, director of football, if you like, in Victor Orta, and it all has to work seamlessly from owner down to your DOF to your manager. So it is very, very important. And again, Carlos, thank you so much for your super chat, brother. That's great. Don, West Ham, Chelsea. I know you're not either side's biggest fan. Obviously, you can't stand Declan Rice. I suppose we could call it the Rice Jorginho derby, couldn't we, brother? How do you see this one going, Don? Hello? He's still there. No, Oscar,
it's not that boring a game. Come on.
Yeah.
You only beat you 3-2. It's not a biggie.
Just grief him now while he can't hear.
Yeah, when he comes back. We'll get a torrent of abuse.
He's gone. Oscar, come on, talk to me. How do you see this one going?
I fancy West Ham here a bit, to be fair. I think obviously Chelsea, guess what? I know Chelsea made a lot of changes in that Watford game. I think 6 changes they made. Didn't have the first choice midfield out. Made a couple of changes at the back. And Watford, to be fair, thoroughly deserved something from that game, from what I saw of it. Mendy's had to make superb saves again. But I fancy West Ham here. I think it'll be... It's a type of game where starting on Jorginho's weaknesses will be a little bit more exposed, I think, because he's got, obviously, Souček, who's going to make runs from deep, who's going to have to track. Rice will do a similar thing. And then, obviously, got that front four of West Ham that's going to cause any team problems. I think the big thing for West Ham is just concentration. As Corey said, the amount of late goals they conceded, and Chelsea are the type of team, they are clinical. You've got to give them credit. They weren't clinical against Man United, but in general this season they've been very clinical. Whether Lukaku starts or not, I'm not sure. I would expect Lukaku to start, to be honest, this game, to give Chelsea that real focal point up top. But Mount's started to play, last couple of games he's been playing well, getting goals, getting assists. So there's plenty of players in that Chelsea team that can cause some problems. But I still think Chelsea are not a long way, but there's a gap between Chelsea and Liverpool and City for me. I still think Liverpool and City are the best 2 teams in this league. Put it this way, I don't think Chelsea could have done to Everton what Liverpool did, in terms of just completely blow them out the water. Or what City did to Everton. I know they're not playing Everton, but that's just an example. I just don't think Chelsea are as ruthless in that kind of sense. But yeah, I'm going to back West Ham to get something there. I'm going to go 1-1. I think West Ham can really give Chelsea a couple of problems. I do think that's the case. I think Chelsea, last couple of weeks, performances-wise, I disagree with Tuchel. I think their performances have been dropping quite a bit, to be honest. They've just been getting lucky wins here and there. But yeah, I still think around now is the time Chelsea are going to start to drop off gradually, I think.
Yeah. I remember saying, actually, I think, was it last week or week before, that I was like, no, there isn't that big of a difference. Chelsea are there. And then I've sort of definitely agree with you just based on, what you're saying there. So my opinions have changed quickly on the title race.
Not the first time that's happened, Joe.
Oh, mate, it happens
Surely
all
not.
the time. It happens all the time, but I forget that. But when I'm right, I mention it every week, don't I? You guys
How many different title winners have you had? It's Liverpool are definitely winning it. Then it's City have won it. Chelsea have won it. It's wrapped up.
Vieira's getting sacked. No, he's not.
Yeah. Mate, after Conor Gallagher's showing it against us, mate, he's gash. I don't even know.
It's awful. He's awful. We didn't want him anyway, Conor Gallagher.
Give me Adam Forshaw every day of the week. Corey, come on, mate. Are you going to batter them? Are you going to beat them? You need to, eh?
Oh, please do. Please do.
Listen, lads, I'd love to do it for us, for West Ham, everything against Frank Lampard. The whole vibe's going to be good. Look, it is a tough game. I know you've spoken about Chelsea dipping and maybe that benefits us slightly in terms of that lack of creativity. It's going to be another game where West Ham are just going to give up possession and we're going to have to be disciplined. It's going to have to be tight. The only concern I have is our counter-attacking threat when we've relied on it. In particular with Mikel Antonio, is struggling. And that's probably the worst game I've seen from him in a long time. And And you know what? Like, to be fair to Antonio, people have said that he's not been in great form possibly for the last month or so, but he's been active and he's so important, whether it's running in behind, taking on players. He scored a goal against Spurs, obviously the winner. So he's a clutch player. But when he's not on it at all, he's really not on it. He's not holding the ball up. He's not taking anybody on. And players like Bowen, Ben Rama, they look isolated. And he has to... I'd say he has to turn up in this game, but I don't know whether it's fatigue. He's not a player that he normally gets injured very, very quickly, and he's played a lot of football this season. So I'm actually slightly concerned going into this game. He's got to turn up basically for me to feel that in those transitions we're going to be effective enough. Bowen missed a couple of chances against Brighton. Ben Rama looks off it. I think Lanzini has to come in, if I'm honest. I think he's earned his kind of stripes. I know from the outside you'll think, actually, Manu Lanzini, he scored a worldie against City, but just in terms of build-up play, holding the ball, pressing, I think he's a real option at number 10. But yeah, it's a nightmare. I know what I'm coming up against. I'm going to see Reece James bombing down that right-hand side. Fornals is going to have to protect Ben Johnson. Creswell's out still. I don't think he's fit, and we missed him again on Wednesday. So maybe a bit of a problem there with Ben Johnson trying to play out from left-back. But listen, mate, it would be so West Ham to go and beat him 1-0 and Zuma to get the winner. Like, it would be a very West Ham thing to do. We need it. We need it. There was a few boos after the game on Wednesday, which I thought was mad. No.
Oh, dear me.
I know you can't please some people, and people are right. And
Really?
I was right. But the thing is, you're right to be critical, and it's okay to be critical. But let's not go off the deep end. And every time we lose or every time we draw, there's a meltdown. It's like, let's put it in perspective. We played City, Brighton are a good team, Chelsea are an equally good team. Let's get this done. And you got Burnley, Norwich, Arsenal, and whatever. So, yeah, hopefully we can get.
You forget, Corey, as well. You come up against the third best player in the world as well in this game.
I'm scared, mate. Did you see him last week? Did you see that touch as well? It was unbelievable. See how he took it? Oh, no.
Don't get me started. I mean, that reaction when he was smashed up the TV, entirely justifiable.
Oh, it was brilliant, weren't it? When it
I thought it was a joke.
The only thing you'd be gutted with is you've wasted a TV on Jorginho. When you look at it, you think, you've not even made it worth it. You know, you've wasted that on someone who just bottles everything all the time.
What's actually happened to the Ballon d'Or when Jorginho is finishing third? Is it just me? Like, I actually understand Jorginho's role within a side, but Salah, I mean, Lewandowski, Benzema, I mean, it's just
he was
ridiculous.
ahead of Benzema, right?
Are we going to mention Kane being 23rd?
Mate, yeah. But then that
That's high, that, isn't it, Matt? Quite high, that, for me.
This is the Ballon d'Or is international trophies heavy. That's the thing. So this is why Sterling finished 15th, even though he was garbage for City. Because England got to the Euro finals and he was England's best player. So that's just what happens, man. Like when international competitions, I remember when Salah broke the Premier League record for goals. He finished 6th that season, and the top 5 were all filled with basically French players because France won the World Cup. So this is very international tournament heavy. And when it comes to Jorginho, listen, Chelsea won the Champions League, Italy won the Euros. So it's just in terms of like weighing up team trophies, even though that's not how it should be. I completely agree with all of you. I'm just explaining the logic behind that. It's just very international tournament heavy. That's the issue. And I think.
Well, why did Lewandowski finish second then?
And why did Dejan Lovren not win it in 2018?
Why did Lewandowski finish second? Went out in the group stage, Poland. I'm sorry, Lewandowski fully deserved to be in the top 2, by the way. I'm just saying, if that logic.
Poland, enough said.
Salah plays for Egypt. They're not great. Why did Salah finish 6th?
Are they expected to make it out the group?
But I do find it odd that they've changed the logic on it. I don't remember this shift. I don't know whether it's happened when Messi and Ronaldo have been so prolific, but I don't ever remember going, this player has to win it because the Cannavaro in 2006 may have been the outlier, but Cannavaro was a brilliant football player. And, Van Dijk the other year should have won it. And I kind of think, well, if you actually look at Jorginho in the Champions League, I think Kante was more influential. I watched a lot of those Chelsea games.
Agreed.
Kante ran the show, ran it. And so I'm thinking, well, okay, fine. What, just because he's part of a winning team, by default, same with Sterling. You can't lie that he wasn't brilliant for England, absolutely. But for club, he was awful. I think he scored 2 goals or whatever. It just annoys me. It's just so, and the Kane thing as well. Like we talk about Kane when people say Kane's not world class because he doesn't win trophies. Well, he plays for Tottenham, probably the biggest bottle job team in God knows how long. So it's not his fault.
I get called out for stating a fact about West Ham's form. And then you can go, no.
No, but
Yeah, but that is a fact, Matt. To be fair, he has stated the facts there.
I'm just backing
I think I think Kane 23rd and Sterling 15th shows you the difference in weight levels between international competitions and local competitions. Because Kane smashed it for club, didn't do as well for country. Sterling the other way around, and Sterling finished higher. So that's the unfortunate truth. Is it fair?
That is mad, isn't
Where
it?
did Mount finish? Mount was quite high, wasn't he?
19th.
19. See, that's
Well,
that's
I
a
get
bit
the logic.
ridiculous.
But he was rubbish for England.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
No, he didn't have to play now. Playing in the group stage, I think. That's
Champions
why.
League tax is heavy. We had like 9 players nominated. So.
Do you know who should
Yeah,
have
but then what about Phil Foden? Phil Foden was City's best player in the whole Champions League run, and he was like 30th, wasn't he, or something? Or I don't know if he was even in the top 30 or not.
Something like that.
It's mad. It makes no sense at all.
The whole award is just losing all the respect that was there for it.
Yeah.
You know, like you've mentioned players, even Antoine Griezmann in 2018. You know, maybe he wasn't at the level of Messi and Ronaldo, but if you're thinking when these players have a monopoly on it, sure, just give it someone else for a season and don't make it Luka Modric, who again is an incredible player. And of course, I love him, a former Spurs player, but he was never anywhere near worthy of winning that Ballon d'Or the year that he won it.
Did anyone see Lewandowski's trophy? What he was given, which basically just like I don't know what it looked like.
he got like a dinner plate or something.
Do you actually know the reason
like
they didn't host the Ballon d'Or last season? Is because the French league was cancelled and they wanted French basically players nominated. That's literally the only reason. They cancelled the Ballon d'Or 2020. So that one should have been given to Lewandowski, but I don't know whether they'll actually eventually do it or not. But Lewandowski deserves it easily.
Lewandowski has been robbed of an award. I will say that much.
Nah, he's not been robbed. Messi deserves it, man.
No, Messi deserved it this year, but Lewandowski had to win it last year.
Yeah.
Had to win it last
hands
year.
down. Hands down. If a Ballon d'Or 2020 happened, it should have been Lewandowski. Hands down.
Messi said that himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Let's move it on from that gash thing. So, who's backing West Ham for a result? We've got Oscar. Don, are you going to back West Ham?
Listen, obviously West Ham won the league last month when they beat Liverpool. But,
For goodness
you know,
sake.
now a month later, the drop-off occurred. Unfortunately, that's just what happens. It kind of reminds me of shades of Hull City with Denilson. I don't know if you guys remember those days, but I wouldn't go that far.
What are you talking about, mate? We're top of our Europa League group with a game to go. We're no
Yeah,
Hull City.
that's
Trust
what
me.
I was about to say. I was about to say I wouldn't go that far.
Alisson's still moaning, isn't he, about the goals?
Don't worry about Alisson. Don't worry about Alisson. Don't worry.
Rent free in his head.
Alisson,
With respect, though,
Alisson has
Corey,
one thing you have not seen your entire life, so don't worry about it. So when it comes to West Ham, I think obviously the December period is going to be very telling because of the pressure they'll have. But I think they'll actually get a positive result against Chelsea. I'm not necessarily going for a win, but I think this game is going to end in a draw. I'm going 1-1 draw. I think West Ham will be very tough to beat. And Chelsea, here's the thing. If Chelsea start with Lukaku, that makes them slower. And Chelsea being slower is positive for West Ham. Because if Chelsea are slower, Ogbonna can deal with it. What's his name? Zuma can deal with it. Craig Dawson can deal with it to an extent. If they don't play Lukaku, they bench him and they decide to go for a pacey front three, etc., then they might trouble them. But I think West Ham probably draw this game. Like I think they'll trouble Chelsea. So Corey, I'm coming on a positive note. Don't worry about it.
It's interesting you say that about Lukaku because his record against West Ham is disgustingly good. But at the same time, when I've seen him play for Chelsea, that they don't look as fluent. I wonder whether if it was more of a fluent front three, they'd give us more issues because we've got Craig Dawson and because Zuma just doesn't look comfortable on the right hand side. So, but having said that, Lukaku will probably come on and score.
But I would say, with respect, Werner and Havertz, they can't hit a Ballon d'Or at the minute.
No, forget Werner and Havertz. Forget them. I'm saying Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, Pulisic, like a very fast, fluid front three.
Do they carry the same threat in terms of pure goals as Lukaku?
But put it this way: if you were Zuma, would you rather face Callum Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, or Lukaku?
Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic for me.
Fair enough. I disagree.
I know what you're saying. Lukaku's not nowhere near the speed, but he'll give you a different threat. You know, you don't want to get like you don't want to try and muscle Lukaku off the ball, do you? You don't want him backing into you, and that's what he's absolutely brilliant.
As a Leeds
United
fan, like for example, Oscar, if I think about like coming up against Chelsea in after this weekend, I'm taking them two over Lukaku pinning Cooper any day of the week. He'll cause Cooper all sorts of problems, will Lukaku.
But I'm seeing too much.
I don't know.
I'm
not saying Lukaku's a problem per se. I'm just saying it's less fluid and slower, basically.
Okay.
No, I agree with that. But I just think in terms of pure goals, which you could argue Chelsea need right now, I just think Lukaku look, he's a bit like Ronaldo at Man United, really. I'm not saying he's nowhere near Ronaldo level, but I'm just saying he gives you goals. Ronaldo lacks in a lot of areas, but he does the most important thing on the football pitch. He just puts the ball in the back of the net. He doesn't press. He doesn't do all the other bits and pieces. But that's a little bit like Lukaku for me. If you have Hudson-Odoi on one side and no Ziyech on the other, or Pulisic, you've still got a really, really good front three there for me.
I agree with you. Yeah, definitely. It'll just be a bit slower. That's it. And I think slower suits West Ham. That's just my
does. Craig Dawson at the minute is I would worry if he's coming up against a mobile front three, because I think Tuchel will target him, because that's how he operates. And if he gets a player that's just going to sit in those half spaces and Dawson loses concentration, let's be honest, this game tomorrow, West Ham are going to be behind the ball for the large majority. If he switches off, or he's pulled into a position that he doesn't want to be, or he's scared of going to press because he knows Werner's in behind, Lukaku in theory is the better player, but it's just because of what they could do. And if it was Bonner and Zuma, I'd probably go, actually, do you know what, we could probably manage it. But Dawson's given me a couple of problems recently.
Go back to that video you did, bro. It comes true.
What did I say? Oh yeah, I got it right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather he put in worldies every single week. Craig Dawson never conceded. Honestly, I hope I was made to eat humble pie, but he's
Just come back and say, I fucking told you all. I was right.
You know there are people out there like that as well. Like they're literally waiting for Dawson to make a mistake. They go, look, there it is. Told you. Right.
Yeah, and you telling me West Ham fans were booing is almost bright. It's almost as bad as Brighton fans booing Graham Potter, to be honest. But there you go. Let's move it on anyway. Let's hope West Ham get a result. I think a lot of us are hopeful of that. I think we all are, to be honest.
Yeah. Just for football, really. Just as revenge on Jorginho getting third on the Ballon d'Or. Crimes against football. Think of all the names. Think of the names that are finished in the top three on that podium of a Ballon d'Or. And then, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Let's move it on, because I'm conscious of time. See, I say we're not going to do that long, and I know there's a couple of people that need to shoot dead on 9 because they've got other shows and whatnot. So my apologies. We're already 42 minutes in. Let's talk about Liverpool, Don. They look unbeatable at the minute. What's that record they've got? Like a minimum of 2 goals in, is it 18 consecutive games or something like that? Is that a new record or something?
Yeah, it's a record of scoring 2 or more goals. I think in 18 or 19 games. I'm unsure of the number. So, new records every year, man.
Yeah, they're unstoppable right now, right? It's going to be you and City all the way, but you just look unreal, man. And surely we'll swat Wolves aside at the weekend.
Yes, I think we'll make light work of Wolves. I'm not worried whatsoever. I think Wolves are just like, they're a mid-table side that. Wolves are probably, Wolves are probably made to play the bottom half of the table more than they're made to play the top half of the table. Like Wolves are good. Oh wow, I need to be humble. I'm always humble, man. So when
you know what it is though, Don? Every time you make bold claims, and I've heard them on your spaces, and you'll say, "I'll do this, I'll do that," and we'll win 4, and we'll do. And they're always come true, and I'm like, oh, he's got away with it again, man.
Listen, I went on an AFTV space and told them to their face, and I said, screen record it, Liverpool will win by 4 goals, Arsenal fans. And they were like, oh, you're taking the piss. This is the new Arsenal, blah, blah. It ended 4-0. You have no idea. I hopped into a space with 400 Arsenal fans, and I played the Shane McMahon entrance music, which is Here Comes the Money. I was literally just annoying the 2000. So no, fair. That's how we went. So anyway, with Wolves, I think we'll win this game. We've been on an incredible run, as you say. I do disagree, though. I think Chelsea are still in it. This title race could easily go till the 38th game week. There could be a world where going into the last game, Chelsea, Liverpool, and City, all 3 of them have a chance of winning it. Like, it could be just one of those crazy title races. When it comes to Wolves, I think Wolves have actually flown under the radar a little bit this season. They've actually been like quietly good without you noticing. I think they're in the top 10 as well, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
they're,
I think they might be 6th, bro.
yeah, I swear they're like 8th or something like that. So
They did really well.
yeah, they're doing well. But when it comes to Liverpool, very fluid football. A certain man on this panel, no name is mentioned, Oscar, tried to say that Thiago is a flop, and obviously 3, 4, 5 games now under his belt, and we can see the level, like the aura he plays with.
I can assure you, I've not said that.
I remember in the Declan Rice Phillips video, it was somewhere there, Oscar. I never forget, Oscar. I always keep my receipts. So
I've what I said, and I'll own it. But Thiago's outstanding, absolutely outstanding to watch.
He's going to go to
you were disrespecting James Milner the other week.
Yeah, I think the current midfield of Thiago, Fabinho, and Henderson is definitely the way forward. I think it's very controlled, very balanced. I think even Corey will tell you right now, the game we had against West Ham, it wasn't necessarily defense or attack or anything. It was just zero control in midfield. West Ham could easily create 5, 6 attacks in a row because we had zero composure in midfield. With that specific midfield of Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson together, there's control, there's experience, there's defensive ability, there's going forward ball progression. So they just give the ball quickly to Salah, Mane, Firmino. So I think we'll win this game. If you want to score prediction, I'm saying by 3 goals. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I really fancy. And you were right. Wolves were actually 8th, mate. It was me over egging them. I don't know how Tottenham is still in 6th, to be fair, but they're there. Let's speak to Matt about Spurs as well. Obviously, beat Brentford last night 2-0, and I've got Norwich at the weekend. So surely,
their fixtures as well.
Honestly. I know, right? They've had us. Obviously, supposed to have Burnley, then they got Brentford, and now they've got Norwich. So, it's been a nice run for Conte.
It has been a nice run for Conte. We had an off run at the start of the season. We had Chelsea, Arsenal, and City all in our first 5, which is ever a nice way to win the season or to start the season. But look, it's been a while since I've been on here and happy to talk about Tottenham. But I think I'm here today. I think I'm in that in that position, which is a nice one. I thought we were really good against Brentford last night. Well, not really good in terms of being at the top level of the Premier League, but really good in terms of the progress we've made over the last couple of weeks. Really good compared to what I've seen Tottenham play since I'd go back to the start of 2019. In the first half, we were really good in possession. We were getting forward. There were a lot of Conte-isms creeping into the play. Brentford couldn't handle us at times, and we were starting to take shots, which is a crazy thing to have to praise, but it's something we haven't seen in a while. Son had a few from range that were looking good. And then in the second half, it was a very different game because Brentford came out at the start of it and they were going all guns blazing. They realised if the game continued the way it was going, there was going to be a second goal there for Tottenham, and they were trying to get that equaliser, maybe kind of shift the momentum of the game. And we managed to control it in the defensive aspect. We defended really deep and really narrow, not in a park the bus style, but I think we conceded a lot of space to Brentford out in the flanks for Rico Henry and whoever it was playing right wing back, and we really piled the numbers into that central space because playing Højbjerg and Skip, 2 very good defensive midfielders, but Brentford had that extra number with Norgard, Janelt and Onyeka. But Højbjerg and Skip were so good at cutting out those passing lanes, stopping the ball, going into Tony and Mbeumo, and the few times it did get in there, the defence did really well in kind of snuffing them out. And like you're looking at players that like Eric Dyer and Ben Davies being our best performers at the moment. Davis was incredible, playing that Alessandro Bastoni kind of role that Conte brought in Inter Milan last season. And it's really, really suiting him, and it's allowing a lot of freedom for Reguilon down that left-hand side, which is what's he say?
I tell you what, man. I think you're overdoing it there a little bit. I mean, man, a week ago you were losing to in the Conference League, and now you're comparing Ben Davies to Bastoni.
I said the Bastoni type role being that attack. Look, you can go back in the 2 streams.
Just because he's left-footed.
This is because he's playing in the same position. He's playing the same role. He's getting really attacking. He's carrying the ball forward, allowing the left wing back outside him to play more advanced and feeding him the ball. If you look,
all I remember is Dan James doing him over and over in that.
That's what I'm saying. There's progress there. I'm not saying this is Tottenham now going forward. I'm saying we're starting to see these Conte-isms creep in.
You played the game. This isn't even like a run of games. You played one game, and now you're talking about him like he's. Bastoni.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm not in any way saying Davis is
Matt,
anywhere
don't
near
let
the
him do
quality
this
of
to you
Bastoni.
because Oscar
Don't fall
compared,
for it, man.
fight
This
back.
is Oscar tactics. Don't fall for it.
Oscar once compared Liam Cooper to Baresi, so don't let him do it.
Oh my God!
Oscar,
Oh
come
my
on.
goodness gracious! God have mercy
I
on
own
my
that though as
soul.
well. I don't try and deny that. I don't try and deny that, like what Matt said.
Well, what am I denying? I didn't say Ben Davis is as good as Bastoni.
2 years ago, Matt,
and he's doing it well.
2
Matt,
years
can I
ago,
ask you a
Tottenham
question?
were in the Champions League final. 2 years ago, Tottenham were in the Champions League final. You've just said we actually had some shots last night. That is how far you were dropped. That is how far Tottenham have dropped.
No,
Listen to anything I've
Oscar,
said
why
on
are you
the show
talking
for
like
the last
Tottenham
6
belong in the
months.
Champions League final anyway? They don't belong there anyway, so they were overachieving getting there to begin with. Matt, let me just ask Matt a question. If you lose to Norwich, would you be shocked at all?
If we lose, I'll be shocked. If we don't win, I won't.
So you basically, if you get a draw, you wouldn't be shocked.
Not at all. No, not one bit.
The problem is
You
with
can't draw
Tottenham.
home to Norwich.
There's about 13 players in the team that are championship quality. That's the issue. If we're being real now, there's loads of players in that team that are just not good enough. When I saw the
Do
team,
you think Spurs have a
Name the
better
13
squad than
players.
Arsenal, Don?
No, they do not.
No, I
Arsenal
said
have a
this.
better squad.
Name the 13 players that are championship quality.
Arsenal have a better squad than Tottenham, generally speaking. Tottenham, I saw the lineup against Brentford, and that lineup stank. Like, I could smell it through my phone. It was that stinky. Conte himself, he came out in the press conference, he was like, the level of the Tottenham is not so good. Like, he even knows. Like, he came in and he's like, what's going on? Like, he had to ban ketchup and mayonnaise to get them playing football. Like, it's mad. Like, it's just, when I look at that team, Eric Dyer is still your centre back. Emerson Royal right back, Ben Davies left back. You look, Hugo Lloris was the Tottenham goalkeeper.
You can't have a go at Ben Davies though. We can't have a go at Ben Davies. He's got a cultured left foot apparently.
Here we go.
Matt, come on,
bro.
Ben
Davies, 15 years ago would been amazing. It's 2021 now. Forget sentiment. Be realistic. Hugo Lloris was the goalkeeper, Oscar, when you were a child for Tottenham, and he's still the goalkeeper till this very day. Like, he's been their goalkeeper for 20 years. Harry Kane has gone up the ball. The only one Spurs player that can put his head up for the entirety of his Spurs ever since he became a Tottenham player is Son, because he has performed. He has always performed for Tottenham. Everyone else has just not been good enough or bottled it.
We tried to sell Son after his first summer at the club. He was terrible in his first season. For the next 2 or 3 seasons, he was a first player.
First season syndrome. Allow the first
He's making them up as he goes along.
I love it. I rate it so much.
I've never been so happy. I've never been so relieved to say I have to leave because I have another.
Do you see that lineup, bro? Do you see that lineup?
What was wrong?
Do you see? Let me read you that lineup and tell me if you were watching this game from the Championship, would you be surprised? Look at this: Lloris, Sanchez, Dyer, Ben Davies, Emerson Royal, Oliver Skip, Højbjerg, Reguilon, Lucas, Son, Kane. Besides Son and Kane, the other 8 players could easily be playing for Coventry City. Like, easily could be playing.
No.
I love this so much.
Let me. You're going to look at World Cup winning captain Hugo Lloris. You're going to look at Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who was one of the best players for Denmark, who got them to the semi-final of the Euros. You're going to look at Oliver Skip, who's unbelievable last night.
Matt, hang on a second. You're talking about these players, what they've done for other teams, not even what they've done for Tottenham.
Yeah, talk about. You know who you sound like right now? You sound like a United fan. You literally sound like a United fan right now. Paul Pogba plays well for France. I don't give a shit. Tell me what he's done for United. You see what it is with Pogba. In his compilations, they still show compilations of him wearing a Juve shirt. It's 2021. It's been 6 years since that dreaded transfer was made. And they're still talking about France and unlocking him. Don't be like them. Forget what they do for their national teams. Talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Oliver Skip, Ben Davies, Dyer, Sanchez, Emerson.
Oliver Skip has been our best player this season. Oliver Skip is absolutely sensational.
That's the sad indictment.
Well, that's why your season's going absolutely horrendously wrong then.
Oliver Skip wouldn't get into the team down the road. Like, he's very unseasoned.
Okay.
Very unseasoned.
I have to go to the Trippers.
Just
Joe,
before you go, Matt.
Corey, it's been a pleasure. That's that.
Matt, just before you go.
Matt, don't do this.
Matt, now,
me and you,
come on.
listen, you're the vice president of the Declan Rice hate club, so we're not about to do this. We are together in arms. We are together in arms. Come on.
Just before you go, I've had Harry Kane in my dream team for a couple of weeks now with this run. Should I take him out? Should I take him
You should
out,
have
or do
taken
I
him out
leave
3
him for
weeks ago.
Norwich?
No.
Do I
get rid of
leave him for
Take him out.
Norwich?
No.
Take him out?
No chance.
He had such a
Get him
good
out.
run. I was thinking, listen, he's going to get goals, but nah. Well,
He's
Matt,
useless.
will you win? Give us a score prediction.
I hate giving Tottenham score predictions. I hate it.
Got to beat Norwich, mate. The Warford. We beat them when we were rubbish.
Yeah, but they've got Dean Smith now. I'll go 2-1, and I really, really have to go because I'm already late for the trippers.
Okay, my apologies.
It's been a pleasure. I'll talk to you
Peace
guys.
out,
mate.
Peace out.
Bye,
Peace out.
Oscar.
He's compared Ben Davies to one of the most promising centre-backs in Italy, and then he said Skip's their best player. I mean, what?
Skip is probably the best player, to be honest. On form.
No. He isn't. Son is Son.
On form.
Not this season.
I said on form. Definitely not in the entirety, obviously.
Son has been good, to be honest. Son has been
Diego
good. The rest of them, though, like, honestly speaking, Matt's gone now, so it's less emotional. But the rest of them are actually, genuinely speaking, they actually are championship quality.
No,
But then when you look at the bench and it makes you, Dele Alli is hands down the worst player in the league. Bro, Ryan Sessegnon, Harry Winks, some guy called Golini, Bergwijn, Tanganga, and Ndombele. Like, what are we talking about?
Come on, Ndombele's a player, mate. Like we can't just throw him into the championship.
Yeah.
Right?
Ndombele is just
what
the worst version of Pogba. That's Ndombele right there.
All them players you mentioned outside of, like, when you mentioned Kane and Son, they would rip it up in the championship. I would
There you
just
go.
say
Thank
that.
you.
They would, no, but they're not championship players because they would like. Oscar, can you imagine Lucas in the championship, man? He would rip it up.
Yeah, but they're not top 6 quality players.
No, they're not. No, I agree with that. But let's not say the championship.
Let's do it. It's funny.
Mitrovic is ripping it up in the championship.
Allow it. Allow it, Wayman.
He's a Premier League player.
Allow it, Wayman. Allow it. Okay, mate.
Hassam does not genuinely believe this. I can tell you right now.
I fully believe it. Listen, Oscar, forget my smile. I fully believe everything I say. I genuinely, I don't do none of this shit. If you spoke to me off camera, I'll be the same. I'll be telling you the same things right now. I've literally said the same statement on Spaces with 200 people listening. I said, listen, half their squad is championship quality. Mitrovic is turning up in the championship. That doesn't mean he's a Premier League player. He's a championship player. Like Dwight Gale. Same thing.
Yeah.
No, allow it, Wayman. Allow it.
We'll allow it then. We'll allow it. Tottenham are going down.
Yes.
Let's have a brief chat about Manchester United before we get into Leeds Brentford. What do we think to Ralph Ragnarok's press conference? It went pretty well, right? He said some interesting things. He
loves himself, doesn't he? Deary me. I tell you what. I'll give myself a job, is basically what he was saying.
Yeah, he did say that, actually.
He'll probably give himself the job. Imagine saying that in your press conference, though. You're setting yourself up for failure there, aren't you, really? But, you got to look at it. What's Michael Carrick done? Was it 2 wins, a draw, no defeats?
Should have kept him.
It would be quite funny if it dropped off after Michael Carrick left, to be fair. He was the key after all this time. He keeps comparing himself to Klopp and all this lot, but come on, mate. Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what are your thoughts on it, Sam? I'm quite interested to get yours because it's been a little bit frustrating for me from the outside looking in because, all the hate, all the hate that was thrown. I know they would say we're insignificant, but whenever Bielsa gets any sort of praise, I've seen a lot of Manchester United fans.
Leeds are definitely not insignificant. Definitely. No,
to them, they would have you believe, yeah? But when you speak about Bielsa, it's like, oh, he's never won all this talk, or Pep Guardiola. But Ralph Ragnarok's exactly the same, though.
He's worse. He's 10 times worse.
Yeah. You are so smart. This is what I mean. Joe is incredible. Because the same thing that you can apply from Bielsa to Pep is the same thing you can apply from Ragnick to Klopp. Same thing. Inspiration. He taught me, blah, blah, blah. But then they tell you, oh, Bielsa's, he's okay. So the same thing with Ragnick. First of all, let me just say, Man United fans are the biggest hypocrites / lowest ball knowledge fan base you can speak to on earth.
Yeah.
I guarantee
100%
you,
on
1
that.
week ago, not one of them knew who Ralph Ragnick was to begin with.
Oh, yeah, true.
Second of all, Ralph Ragnick employs the pressing style. How is Wan-Bissaka going to press? How is Maguire going to play in a high line? How is Luke Shaw going to press? How is Pogba going to press? How is Bruno going to press? How's the Dudley boys going to press in midfield? How's Ronaldo? Ronaldo doesn't press. The other two wingers, where's the press coming from? So this whole win the ball in 7 seconds thing, they're never winning the ball. They will never, ever win the ball. When it comes to Ralph Ragnick, in the next 6 months, we could actually see a worse, more shambolic version of Man United, because the amount of space they would leave wide open because their players are not good enough. People are out here acting like Ralph Ragnick. Listen, Ralph Ragnick in an upstairs role, incredible. If you give him the keys and be like, okay, rebuild my football club, get me a proper structure, get me a proper scout, you choose my manager, then he's incredible. He's very good at it. But as a manager himself, he really isn't that good. He has the same credentials as Mikel Arteta. He has a German Cup and Arteta has an FA Cup, literally same level. So, like, when it comes to managerial experience and everything, like, he's just not it. And even Klopp doesn't like to win the ball every 7 seconds because he had to adapt to the Premier League. So Ragnick will have to adapt as well, because you can't be trying to win the ball every. But you can't try to win the ball every 7 seconds in the Prem. You leave so much space open, and literally you could get counter-attacked to death, man. So I don't think people are out here acting. And there's another thing I want to mention as well, because there's 100 things in my head. Because my United fans think, I swear, they think the second coming, like, just because Ragnick is employed.
Yeah.
The one thing that just, like, I have to think about, will politics play a part as well? Politics, when I say politics, I mean Ronaldo needs to play, even though it's against Ragnick's system. And, for example, Maguire needs to play, even though it's against Ragnick's system. Just as an example, he's our captain, he's the English centre-back, blah, blah, blah. Same with Ronaldo. He's like, we bought him for this much money, so to keep the commercial side happy, we need to play him. So will that come into play? Because if we're being honest, Ragnick's system, for it to be employed, Maguire is the first name on the bench, and Ronaldo is the first name on the bench. This is why, if you remember, when Klopp first came in, Benteke was 10 times the striker that Firmino was. Benteke had just come from Aston Villa, and he was a goal-scoring machine back then. And then after that, he made Firmino the false nine, Klopp, because of how specific it is. So for Ragnick, I would assume probably it's Martial, Rashford, someone like that he'd probably prefer in a false nine role or a pressing role. So when it comes to all that, Ragnick is nowhere near fixing it. And Klopp said it in the press conference as well. He literally has no time to train them. And the analogy used is perfect as well, because they like to talk shit about Bielsa, but Ragnick is literally the German version of him. So,
yeah.
But he's worse. This is the thing. Bielsa has actually won stuff. This is the thing. Bielsa's like managed in World Cups and that lot. He's managed his country. He's managed Chile. He's managed. He's been in Europa League finals. What?
No, it's just the only reason I did it is because I know, like, and he won't mind me mentioning, like, Terry from the Football Terrace would grief Bielsa 24/7, and I've had conversations with him on the terrace. I've replied to his tweets. I see a lot of it, and then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, but Ragnick, he trained Klopp, he trained Tuchel, and I'm like,
he didn't. He didn't even.
No, I know, but it's the same sort of thing. Like, and then I'm seeing, like you say, like, is the second coming, and it just pissed me off a little bit, because I was like, hang on a minute, we've been saying the exact same about Bielsa and saying it's,
This is a repeat of Van Gaal. Van Gaal, 100% for me. Fall out with loads of players, as Hassam's just alluded to. The only thing I'd say about him is he probably would have the bottle to drop Ronaldo and Maguire. I'll give him that, Ragnick. But
yeah, but Man United fans want Maguire stripped to the captaincy, and that they all think this is going to happen. I seen a Twitter space yesterday saying Maguire's in the lineup. It's a joke, and I'm like, well.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, what do you want? Though?
You would, though, wouldn't you? For me, if I'm going into that job, the first thing I'd do would be that. Would probably strip him.
Do you think?
I think he would.
I think he needs to. If I'm honest, I don't think
really.
he's a captain for Man United. No, yeah, absolutely. I think he's there for. I think he's there for at least 3 years. I think he said in his press conference he wasn't going to take over in the summer, and it's a 2-year consultancy role. And I think Manchester United, from what I understand and what I've read, have given him the license to do what he wants. The only thing I'd say about, we've obviously spoken about him not changing his style. He has said he's got to adapt to it. He says that he's got to adapt to the players that he's got. and he said that he's not going to bring in any major transfers over January. So I expect him to work with what he's got. And there are players there. There's kind of Fred as a presser, Lingard as a presser. Like there are things there, but he's still got a massive call in Ronaldo because, like we've all alluded to, he's not a player that would work in a Rangnick system. So it'd be interesting to see if he can actually mould a system to his strengths in almost just feeding him with some creative players like Jadon Sancho, who's played for Dortmund before in a similar style. But yeah, it's going to be a bit mad. I don't think United fans doing a 180 on it is a little bit strange for me because they didn't even know who he was about 2 weeks ago. Now all of a sudden he's the godfather of pressing. So, and they were the same people, by the way, that were saying Conte, Zidane, Pochettino. It wasn't even in their mindset. So they've got to get over that. I said this to you, Joe, about 2 weeks ago. I guarantee if it all goes to pot in 2 months, they'll be losing their minds and be going, we can't do this. We've got to bring in a big name manager again. And, stick with the same. Just stick with the same person. Just try and build something.
Yeah,
guys, I'm gonna have to shoot now.
Yeah, Don, thank you as always.
Friday Night Madness to shoot. So I'll see you guys later. Big up Joe. Big up Joe. Big up Corey as well. Come on West Ham. Come on Brentford. I'll see you guys later.
See you later, mate.
Thank you very much, bro. Don and Match Channel.
I see. I didn't get a big up there, by the way.
Yeah. He also said big up Brentford on the way out. The little Cheb. I didn't realise until afterwards. I was like, he's just said Brentford. Now, make sure you check out Don and Match channels. Both links are in the description, along with Corey's and, of course, Xavi Esther TV. However, Xavi Esther TV is doing an almost locks in the box because when I put your link in the description earlier, I recognise you still only had 2 videos uploaded.
I know. I've been busy, man. I've been busy.
Pull your finger out, Oscar Mario. Pull your finger out. Let's finish up because Corey looks like he's half asleep. Let's.
I'm awake, mate.
Story, though. I tell you what, compared to 2 weeks ago when West Ham were winning the league.
Yeah.
I told you I had to enjoy it, Oscar. Like that's why I had to just take those moments because I knew it was going to start dipping.
Try to make this
slightly.
No, we don't want that.
Next, what's happening here?
Just Joe with a few additions. Is that what it is with that one?
Yeah.
Hello.
Let's just do Leeds Brentford before we finish up. Did you, Corey? Sorry to do this just in case you haven't, but did you get to see us all against Palace?
Saw the first. Oh, mate, it was awful. I only saw like the first 20 minutes. I was actually quite impressed with what I saw. People were saying it was a low quality game that Leeds weren't creating chances, and I'm not surprised by that, but very impressed in terms of the pressing intensity. It seemed to be there, and it seemed like you were. I don't think you could control games. Do you know who really impresses me, by the way? Adam Forshaw is a very good player, and having him alongside Calvin Phillips as a player that can keep. And I said a couple of weeks ago, if you can just have a player there that can just control games, because with Leeds it's either you're pressing and you're out of possession, or you're not and you're too open. But having Forshaw there just gives you a player that can just keep the ball and try and create. But really happy for you to get the win. Like it's a big win, and whether or not there are probably outlying issues in terms of needing a natural number 9 there, and Bamford comes in. But overlapping fullbacks is a big thing. Intensity is a big thing, and I think Forshaw is kind of like another player really. If you can get another centre midfielder maybe in January, then your midfield looks okay. But yeah, no, credit to you. You needed that 3 points, didn't you, really? Let's be honest.
Oh, mate, it was amazing, man. I unfortunately wasn't at the ground. I'd give my ticket to my brother, but I know Mateus, what looked like Mateus Click anyway, was stood. This guy looked bang on like Mateus Click, and he must have found Oscar in the crowd. And when the penalty went in, he was just videoing Oscar.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
I didn't realise he was doing it until when the goal went in. I was like thinking, whoa, yeah, he was scored.
Oscar. I was going, what's this? And then all of a sudden, Oscar in his suit going, yeah.
I was that focused on the penalty. I was just, we need that bit of luck.
What did you think to him doing the Jorginho with the hop, skip, and a jump?
Well, we all know how great a penalty taker Jorginho is. It's, no, look, I'd back Rafinha to do that over Jorginho, to be honest. But I'd back me to do it over Jorginho, to be quite honest with you.
He had some massive bottle, didn't he, to take a pen like that in the last minute? Like cool as ice, mate. He's a.
I was a bit surprised It was Jorginho, not Jorginho, Rafinha who's on it. He's on the line, you see. He's rattled me that third place thing. I need West Ham winning that game, otherwise it'll settle me down then. It'll settle me down. But no, Rafinha, I was surprised Rafinha took it, to be honest. I thought maybe Rodrigo might have been on it. But yeah, look, Rafinha is the man for those kind of moments. I think probably it was a 0-0 game for me, really. I know we had some big chances there, but it was quite a low-key game. I thought we did a really good job defensively on Zaha, Gallagher.
Alice was phenomenal against Zaha.
Yeah, he was. He dominated that battle. And Zaha on his day is an unbelievable player, but Dallas got into his head really early doors. Went in for that crunching tackle in the first sort of 5-10 minutes, and Zaha didn't really recover from that. And we did a superb job in that. We were hard to play against, and that's the main thing. It wasn't maybe us at our free-flowing best, but I do think when you add an Ayling into the mix, and obviously Bamford's a big one. There was a moment in that second half.
Would you start him, bro? Would you start him?
What, against Brentford?
Yeah. Would you?
It's a hard one, that. It's a hard one.
I don't think he will, because Robert's played well, and we know what Bielsa's like. So I don't think he will. But for me, I would start him every day of the week.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I would. I see what he can do off the bench first, because he's hardly played, to be fair. I think the thing is, you just don't want him to aggravate anything. That's the big thing. You don't want him to aggravate any kind of injury from playing, the full 90. But there's a cage for it. But there was a moment in that second half when Firpo, who I thought was probably had his best game in a league shirt, to be honest, in that second half.
What about when he came on at half time in 5 minutes? He lost the ball.
But he got the booking. But he recovered. But he did recover from it.
Going, get him off.
But he recovered from it. That's the main thing.
Right.
He did show unbelievable bottles. So, in terms of obviously playing in front of Ellen Road, the fact we needed to win the game, and putting some lovely deliveries as well. And there was a moment in that second half when looking at it from the east stand, you're thinking, Bamford's scoring that. In terms of where he put it, he hung it in the air, and you're thinking, we didn't have anyone to attack it in that kind of sense. And you think, if Bamford was on the pitch there, he's burying that. So, it looks good. And I think Dan James put one in as well, where I thought, if Bamford's on the end of that, we're talking the goal there. But I think Dan James has been much better last couple of weeks. I think we're starting to see a real player there. I think in terms of pressing, he fits the team.
He's pressing, and that's phenomenal, right? It's great. And some said I was a little bit harsh in my post-match, but his decision-making is still woeful for me.
Yeah, but he could have easily walked off that pitch with 2 assists. Roberts has missed a decent chance in the first half. Rodrigo's missed that one where he tried to put it around the keeper rather than just hit it first time. You could be talking about 2 assists there off Dan James. I agree. It's an area of his game that probably Bielsa's probably working on the most with him, but I think everything else about him in terms of the runs he makes, the work rate off the ball, the fact he can play on both sides, he can play on that right-hand side as well, which makes it a bit more useful in that kind of sense. I think there's a real player there in Dan James. I think obviously, I don't think the plan probably was to play Dan James as much as we have done so far. I think it's the fact the injuries have probably forced our hand a little bit in that sense. Obviously, Jack Harrison's form dropped off a little.
Ahead of Harrison, isn't he?
Well, yeah.
I don't even know what Harrison's.
But Jack Harrison's form's dropped pretty much since Dan James has turned up. So, but I'm surprised that James has played so much as he has. But I think he's getting better, to be honest. I do genuinely think he's getting better. And I think there's a real player in there with Dan James. I honestly do.
I think he'll be a really good signing for you, actually. Like I know he said it at the time, and it does seem obvious because of his energy and his pace. But I think when Leeds start getting up to full strength and your fullbacks are bombing on and Firpo's looking a lot more comfortable, I think it is going to give him even more space. That's probably the only criticism of him that sometimes when it's 1v1, is he really good enough when there's not enough space in behind? But I don't know. It's such an interesting experiment with Bielsa in terms of what he can do with him. But I think he improves. He improves over time. He also improves with Bamford in the team. I think when you've got someone up there as more of a focal point, a player who's got brilliant movement, you've missed it. It leads you forget, like outside in speaking, when I watch it, I think when you see Bamford and a lot of the key components come back, it's a machine what Bielsa puts together. And we take a cog out of it and it doesn't quite work. It takes time, but you're getting the players back at the right time in the right games. And that's the main thing. And if you get that win against Brentford,
huge.
You're looking rosy, innit? I think You're what, 12th, 13th?
Yep.
Well, there you go. So
if Everton would have conceded one more goals, we'd have gone up to 14th. Do you know what I mean? And you think the injuries that we've had and that we've actually, in all honesty, although it's been tough to watch at times and I've been worried, we've actually managed it okay, really. And then if we get back at the weekend, for me, I would start Bamford. And then we go into that, the rest of them games in December. Do I think we'll lose all 4? No. Do I think we'll get any more than 6 points? Probably not. I think most we could hope for is anywhere between 2 and 4, and 4 would be a big push. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I thought, actually, just quickly, with the fixture pile up, I wonder whether there is an opportunity there for a shock result because of the games, because of rotation, because of the teams that you're playing. Yeah. Maybe there are, because for me, I'm like, they're a bit of a write-off. But actually, when I think about it, if someone rotates or someone gets injured or we know what happens, listen, doors open. So when you have got your fully fit team, you got to take the chance. We'll see, mate. We'll see. I hope so.
I think we could get
dip.
We could get at Arsenal, definitely, at home. Ellen Road, atmosphere. We're seeing some of their players really suffer at Anfield. I know, look, Liverpool are a different kind of level to us, but in terms of in that atmosphere, I think more than anything, the likes of Nuno, Lokonga in the middle of the park, a bit more, less experienced players, Saka, less experienced players, Smith Rowe, you think, in that kind of atmosphere, Saturday night as well, might be quite a tough one for that as well. And obviously, there'll be banter between the South Stand and Aaron Ramsdale as well. Whether the South Stand can get in Ramsdale's head, we know how emotional he is. Great keeper, no doubt about it. But I still think that Arsenal one is the one where I do quietly feel confident about that.
Yeah,
Chelsea away as well.
And win. Yeah,
Chelsea will rotate, as Corey said. They've got the Champions League the week before. Sorry, not the week before. A couple of days before, so they'll have to play an extra game. Who knows? We'll see what we can do in that Chelsea game. But we've got to beat Brentford first and foremost. That's by no means a given. We know what Tony can do. They don't concede that many goals, Brentford. They're an awkward team to play against. They always seem to be in the game, to be fair to them. They're not maybe on the best of form, but they're always in games kind of thing. So it's going to be tough. It'll be tough against Brentford. But I think if we play like we did against Palace, add Bamford in there for the last 20, 30 minutes, possibly in Ayling as well, I think we can. I think 2-0 as well. I think you said off air 2-0. It feels a 2-0 for me, and I do back Bamford to come off the bench and score. I do feel that's something that could well happen.
Goal in each half for me. Goal in each half. Yeah. 11th is on the cards for Sunday for Leeds with the win, says Pete Benson. Thank you as always, Pete, for your super chat. You give them quite regularly, so thank you very much, mate. But yeah, 11th is on the cards, so it would be pretty. Corey, are you backing a Leeds United win or a point? Or what are you saying?
I think you'll win. I wouldn't write Brentford off completely just from the set piece aspect, and I wonder whether Thomas Frank will target that. And they have caused teams problems even when they aren't looking as creative. But I think for large periods of the game you're going to dominate because I don't think Brentford are going to go toe to toe with you. I think they'll sit deeper and it's going to benefit you. So I think you'll win 2-1, and I think Bamford will come on later, and I think he'll make an impact. So yeah, I reckon you'll get it, mate.
If he did, it would be amazing.
Is it at Ellen Road, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, look, there you go, mate. That's what I mean. I think you're unbeaten at Ellen Road this season. So, you're not.
No doubt. Be shooting towards the cop in the second half. He'll come on. You get a goal. I'll be like, get up there. He's back. We're back. We're going to win Champions League next year. That's what we'll be saying. But listen, thank you as always for watching the Premier League preview. I want to thank Corey and Oscar, both absolute legends of the game, and really grateful for them giving up their time for me this Friday evening. Make sure you check out the West Ham Way, Javiesta TV, and of course All Leeds TV for all your Leeds United related content as well, with your man Oscar Marriott. I'm going to go now stick on them West Ham jammies that I seen in Tesco earlier on.
Don't knock it, mate. Don't knock it. We need everything.
Do you know what though, Corey?
Wait, were they in, like, where you were?
Yeah, this is what... So, I was going to say... What? Yeah, I was going to say when we were talking about big clubs early, right at the start, and I was going to say it's so unusual to see... I don't think I've ever seen West Ham merch in stores in the Northeast and or anywhere really. And I was obviously looking for the kids some clothes for Christmas, and then I came across there was like Manchester United, Chelsea, West Ham, and I was like, I had to take a picture of these because I was like, and I sent them obviously in our group chat. But yeah, it was a bit mad to see West Ham gear up in the northeast.
Worrying times.
I'll tell you what, a couple of wins,
Worrying
and everyone
times.
wants to be a West Ham fan, don't they?
It's
nuts.
I don't know what's happening with my key. You've gone all Robotnik. Speak.
Worrying times having West Ham stuff in the northeast. You can say anything we want now.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's gone.
Can you hear me?
He's gone. He's frozen as well. We can't even leave the stream yet. We can't even leave the stream.
Hello?
He's there.
What an ending to the show. What's happened
Can't hear
here?
us.
What's happened?
You were just telling everyone about how you bought West Ham pajamas.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what I've gone all. I've gone all Robotnik and that now. I think I know it's all gone a bit wild. Yeah, maybe I should have stayed away from the West Ham Jarmies chat and just left it. I don't know.
The best time to end the stream was before that. The next best time is right now, I think.
It is. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Anyway, it's gone on the blink. Thank you as always for watching. Check out Xavi Esther and the West Ham way. I'm rambling now, so we're going to leave it there. Look out for my post-match after Brentford. And yeah, Monday we'll be doing a Premier League review.